Good afternoon, Fairfielders. I am First Select Woman Brenda Kupchik, and I am here to provide some important updates and information regarding the COVID-19 pandemic and our town operations. The town of Fairfield now has 62 residents who have tested positive for COVID, and it is with great sadness that I share today we were notified of a fourth death of a Fairfield resident, a 62-year-old man. My sincere thoughts and prayers are with those families who have lost a loved one and with all families who are struggling during these challenging times. I want to express my sincere gratitude to the residents who are heeding the advice and staying home to protect everyone in our community. I continue, however, to receive photos, emails, and reports from residents about young kids, teenagers playing sports, basketball, and at the skate park, friends visiting each other's homes, and teenagers gathering too close with those outside of their household. I have also received reports of adults visiting their friends at their homes. I cannot stress this in the more strongest term. Please stay home. I am continuing to ask parents, if you have not already, to have a serious conversation with your children about the importance of staying home and not gathering with their friends. We are in the midst of a pandemic. This is a national health crisis, and I implore you to stay home. If you go out to the grocery store or to a medical appointment, please maintain safe physical distancing of at least 6 feet from non-household family members. The next 2 weeks are critical for our town and state. We are in the acceleration phase of this pandemic. We are going to see increased stress on our hospitals, and I need our residents to continue to do their part, to do your part for our community. It is all of our civic responsibility as Fairfielders to stop the spread of this deadly virus, especially for our doctors, nurses, and our first responders who are on the front lines. I hope you will think of them and their families. I know many of our residents are facing seriously challenging times with layoffs and many small businesses who have been ordered to close temporarily or shut down. I have received questions on local property taxes. Local property taxes were due April 1st and can be paid through May 1st without any interest or penalties. Earlier this week, the governor issued an executive order to help provide further relief. We have reviewed the programs and in our conversations with RTM leaders to hold a special meeting to approve a tax deferment program for eligible residents in the next 2 weeks. We will provide more information as we move forward through this process. You may already know the governor lifted the tax exempt on disposable bags after consulting with RTM leaders. I took action this week at the request of grocery stores in town and as recommended safety precaution at the advice of health professionals to suspend the town's plastic bag ordinance. This will allow retailers the ability to issue customers plastic bags. In an executive order issued last night, hotels, motels, inns, bed and breakfasts, and Airbnbs are now only to be used by healthcare workers, first responders, and vulnerable populations. Leisure and vacation lodging is prohibited. I am sending out emails several times a week with updates, and you can sign up to receive them on our website. You can also sign up for code red alerts at www.fairfieldct.org or through my Facebook page. We have been together through this from the beginning. We have been keeping to stay apart, but we need to continue it a while longer. People's lives depend on our efforts to stay home and restrict contact with immediate members of your household. Next, I am asking our Director of Health to come up, Sans Clary, to give an update.
Current predictions are estimating that for our area, we will see a peak of COVID-19 activity on or about April 15th. While there will be a gradual deceleration phase for additional few weeks after that, there will be high demands placed on our healthcare system. The next 3 to 4 weeks will be the most challenging for our area, with extremely significant demands being placed on our healthcare system and our healthcare providers. Now is not the time to place extra demands on our area's ERs and hospitals by engaging in any behavior that puts you at risk for injuries or to be around anyone that puts you at risk for illness from this virus. The second point is especially true if you are over 60 or have underlying medical conditions. It is imperative that these individuals do everything within their power not to become ill from the virus and not to require hospital-level care over the next 3 to 4 weeks. If you do become ill and require hospitalization, there is a risk that there may not be enough equipment or staffing necessary to help you recover from this virus. For those of you who are not at higher risk who become ill, if you can manage your symptoms at home, please do so. Over 80% of the people who become ill from this virus can recover at home without medical intervention. This is not the time for the mild or moderately ill to go to ERs and hospitals. This is not the time for the worried well or others to place additional demands on our hospitals. In addition, it is absolutely critical that all members of impacted households protect themselves from infection by isolating themselves from the ill household members and quarantining themselves so that what is happening in your household, your household is experiencing, does not get out of your household and into the community. Right now, there are likely thousands of Fairfield residents that are currently infected, and over the next 3 to 4 weeks, there will be thousands more. Many of these infected individuals will experience no symptoms at all, or only such mild symptoms that they may not consider themselves ill, and the CDC is now advising that people can be infectious up to 2 days prior to showing any symptoms. All these individuals, which may include you, can spread the virus to others. This is why we are asking people to stay at home and not associate with others outside of your household and not to interact with any high-risk individuals. We must work collectively to protect the most vulnerable amongst us. Lastly, if you are ill or are recovering from being ill, before you go back into the community, please make sure you have fully recovered. According to the CDC, this means that you have been fever-free for 3 days without the use of fever-reducing medicines, that it has been 7 days since the start of your symptoms, and that all your symptoms are improving. Together we will get through this by not panicking, but through a calm resolve to protect and serve each other through this challenging time. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Dennis McCarthy. I am the Fire Chief and Emergency Management Director for the town of Fairfield. The current mission and focus of our emergency management team is threefold. First, to protect our workforce, both emergency services and town staff. We continuously evaluate all potential routes of exposure for all employees and update our personal protection protocols. We cannot emphasize enough, the best way for you, the public, to help us is to stay home. By staying home, you reduce the spread of the virus and in turn help maintain hospital capacity for the truly sick. You reduce the use of personal protective equipment by emergency responders, and you help us preserve this vital resource. And you help protect our emergency responders from any exposure. Thank you for the extraordinary sacrifice that you have made. Please continue vigilance and adhere to physical distancing mandates. Second, we're maintaining emergency services through rigorous safety protocols. We are tracking every potential exposure of a suspected COVID-19 patient and provide support and guidance to our responders to prevent the spread through those exposures. The fire and police departments are fully staffed, and we remain confident in our ability to maintain our service levels in the community. And third, our emergency management team is collaborating with Operation Hope, Social Services Department, the Health Department, and the private sector. Operation Hope continues to hold food drives and post those dates on their website. The economic impact of this pandemic will increase demands on this service. We encourage everyone to help neighbors in need. Our Social Services and Senior Center provides meals to seniors in their system. This service has been expanded to those in need and relies on the donations from Operation Hope Food Pantry, so please support that. A Fairfield COVID-19 Relief Fund has been established to provide residents the opportunity to make financial donations to support our residents who are hardest hit by the economic impact of the pandemic. This effort is very similar to the successful program we used after Superstorm Sandy. All donations should be made out to the Fairfield COVID-19 Relief Fund, and details will be posted on the Town of Fairfield website and the Operation Hope website, which is managing this program. Finally, we are coordinating with our behavioral health providers from the town's social services, health, police department, school system, and the clergy. We are mindful of the challenges and hardships that our residents are experiencing. Your sacrifices are helping us flatten the curve and reduce the number of illnesses and fatalities. The news we receive daily on TV and online is disturbing, to say the least. And each of us processes that information differently. If you need support or guidance, please reach out to friends or family or professionals for emotional support. Resources available through the Town of Fairfield Social Services Department, and additional information can be found on their website as well as the Health Department website. Finally, I ask you to continue your practice of social distancing. It is never more important than in the upcoming weeks. Please do not give up now. It is our civic responsibility to flatten the curve. That means no contact with anyone outside your immediate household. And we thank you for your continued dedication to that mission. Let me now introduce our next speaker, Rabbi Marcela Cornish from Congregation Bethel.
Good afternoon. My name is Marcela Cornish. I serve as the Rabbi of Congregation Bethel here in the town of Fairfield. I would like to take a moment to thank our first select women to invite clergy to address the town of Fairfield at this time. I would like to take a moment to thank the nurses, the doctors, and all the health providers who are really at the front line fighting this coronavirus and the spreading of this pandemic, not only in our town, but around our country and around the world. I'd like to take a moment to thank the Chief of Police and the Chief of our Fire Department for the wonderful job that they are doing. And I would like to tell my town that we are in this together. We're in this together because we need you. We need you to take conscious how important it is for you to stay physically distant for other people. Even if you feel well, it doesn't mean that you're not carrying this virus. It is a religious responsibility for us to take good care of our health and also to take good care of other people. So I would like to invite you to exercise that, and I would like to invite you to especially communicate that to your family and to your children. As our first select women just said, we know that there are some people who are out there. We know that there are people out there who are in parks, who are talking to each other. They are not maintaining their distance, and we would like to encourage you to do that, because it's not only our civic responsibility, it is also our spiritual responsibility. Judaism teaches the value of pikuach nefesh, that we should be preserving our soul. We should be preserving our life above anything else. And Judaism also teaches that we are responsible for each other. So that's my message to you today. Please, please be responsible for you and be responsible for those who are around you. We have been in close communication with the town, with the leadership here in the town of Fairfield. The first select woman conducted a phone call with clergy around our town last week, and we have been providing spiritual support to first responders. And we are in this together, regardless of your faith, regardless of your background, regardless of your political views, regardless of your religion. I invite you to be together, and I invite you to fight this pandemic together. We have been reaching out to the elderly. We have been reaching out to people who might be isolated at this time. But we need you to do that as well. Give a phone call. Send a message. Write a post on Facebook reaching out to your friends because they want to hear from you. We have been doing that with my congregation, and I know that other clergy have been doing the same around our town. And I just cannot tell you how important and how valuable this has been for people who are isolated, for people who are expecting a call, an email, or just a text message asking, are you okay? Is there anything I can do to help you? So please do it. Major holidays are coming up. The holiday of Passover for the Jewish people, Easter for Christians, and the month of Ramadan for our Muslim brothers and sisters. And certainly, this is going to be a different year for us to celebrate our holidays. Probably we're going to stay physically distant, but we are spiritually connected to each other. And that's my message to you. Try to take the best from this time. Try to spend quality time with your loved ones, with your family, with your friends. Take good care of yourself, because as I said to you before, we are all in this together. It is my pleasure to introduce you now to Father Cipriani, who is here with us today.
Rabbi, thank you so much. I first want to say thank you so much to our intrepid First Select women. Brenda, thank you so much for all that you're doing, and you're just outstanding team of frontline soldiers. Thank you so much. Please continue to put up the great work, taking care of us and by our prayers as we take care of all of you. When I was a little kid, I'd like to say just a few years ago, I was terrified of the dark. And like so many who were, I would pull the covers over my head, which thinking back now kind of didn't make too much sense, since it made the darkness more dark. Though there was the hope that the sheets served as a kind of protective covering, that hiding me, I would somehow be kept safe. Well, here I am today, so I assume it must have worked. This week in preparation for Holy Week, as is the tradition, when you walk into a Catholic or a Christian church, you will notice all the statues are covered. Submerged as we already are in a time of darkness, this seems only to make that dark even darker. Do we not long to look upon those holy images, allowing them to see us not through the eyes made of plaster or glass, but eyes that are alive, from which shine the rays of heaven into hearts so desperate for peace, so anxious to be rid of the fears that are overwhelming us? We sense immediately that it is so unnatural to cover those statues. It's like covering all your family photos in your house or deleting them from your phone. We are meant to see them because they bring us comfort, remind us there is tremendous love and support in all our lives. But these coverings in church are different. They are referred to as veils or veiling, which of course should remind us of a bridal veil. In religion, a veil was used to indicate that beneath it, something incredibly beautiful and sacred was there. The attention was not so much drawn to the veil as the beautiful reality behind it. The Jewish temple had a veil that veiled the Holy of Holies, God himself. In Catholic churches, there is often a veil covering the tabernacle door to indicate that Holy of Holies is God himself. So that when a bride comes down the aisle, the veil, no matter how elegant or symbolically beautiful, is not meant to remain down. That it is there so as to experience the tremendous joy of it being lifted. So that when the bridegroom beholds the face of his beloved bride, he sees not only her, but the beauty of heaven, the beauty of God who has given to him this precious gift of heaven in human form. This weekend begins Holy Week, but to be fair, with this virus, it seems as though it has been a very extended Holy Week thus far, with so much suffering, that we have never experienced a Lent that is more raw, more tough. A time like no other, when we feel covered in a shroud of darkness that is bringing us nothing but fear, doubt, and anxiety. But Holy Week does not conclude with Good Friday, nor will those statues like that bride remain veiled. Those veils will be lifted. I repeat, they will be lifted. And so, by way of faith and hope, rather than be anxious with fear, let us be eager with the anticipation of Easter, Passover, Ramadan, which reminds us there is no stone so heavy or so large that could prevent Christ from emerging from the darkness of that tomb, or emerging from our hearts in the way of a pure, more empowered, compassionate, kinder, more forgiving love. Easter is the reminder that the veil will be lifted, and when it is, let the whole world see our beauty as children of God. Let the whole world see that we are the presence, peace, comfort, and power of heaven and God in human form. And let that world, this town, be inspired by the great light and warmth of our renewed and resurrected faith. May God continue to bless you, keep you safe, and keep you healthy.
Thank you, Rabbi, and thank you, Father. I asked specifically to have two of our religious leaders come because I know that anxieties are very high in our community. And I thought it would bring some comfort to everyone who is feeling very concerned. I also want to give some hope to everybody, so I'm going to give some suggestions. I know this is a challenging time, and I say this, I'm going to say it in the most strong terms. Please listen to what everyone is telling you. Please, I'm asking you, I'm begging you to please do the right thing for everyone in our community. And something you can do that could be fun, something I am doing tonight. On a lighter note, I am going to participate in a virtual happy hour with Zoom with my friends tonight. So my husband and I will be doing that with our friends. I hope you will do similar things like that. I know we all miss each other, but this is a time of very important that we must stay away from one another. So I hope that your teenagers can Zoom each other and see each other that way. Your young children can do it. Your friends can do it. And as the holidays approach, I know it's going to be difficult not to have friends over for Seder or for Easter or for brunch or for breakfasts, things that we normally do in our community. But we can be creative. We live in a modern world. So I'm asking everyone to think of this. Think of setting up these things so that you can do them at home and you can do it for the upcoming holidays and spend time virtually on Zoom or on Facebook or whatever venue you choose. Please figure these things out before the holidays and let's work together to stay apart. Thank you so much.